Welcome to the TAOUTDOORS and fishing show. I'm at Horcott Lakes, which is in Gloucestershire near Fairford, and I'm on their smaller day ticket water, and I'm trying to catch a tench. Haven't been out all night. I'm afraid it's not dawn at all. It's not a dawn traditional session. It is unfortunately 10 to 10. I've just cast out. All I've done is walk along. Possibly made a mistake because I saw some bubbles coming up. I looked at a couple of swims, thought, if there's bubbles, must be fish. Looked like tench bubbles. And then threw my ground bait out. Wind came up. Can I still reach that area with my quiver tip rods and swim feeders? Anyway, I got a couple of rods out. Been here no more than 10 minutes. It's nearly 10 o'clock. I mean, most places shut off about 7 o'clock, don't they? You know, dawn and dusk for tench, that's what you think. But here at Horcott on this small lake, sometimes you can get them through the day. That's what they tell me. It's not my regular water. I've driven hour and 3/4 to get here. But I'm going to give it a go. I've got a real mishmash of bait. I've got casters. I'll give you a tip on those in a minute. I've got red and white maggots. I've got small worms, dendrobenas. Of course, I could make up some ground bait paste. And I've got some sweet corn. So that's some of the main baits that tench like feeding on. Whether, of course, they're going to feed or not, I don't know. Another guy, 2 guys over there, another 2 or 3 guys turned up. So it's that time of year. It's cloudy. That's the thing that's in my favour. A little bit of cloud, but cold wind, and that can shut fish off big time, as we all know. I mean, when I walked around there, didn't see any carp caught. Saw a lot of dry nets, dry way slings, and all that business. So I guess not much come out during the night. But listen, every day's different. Anyway, let's run through some of these baits. Okay, here's my bucket of mix, which is the Bailey's number 1, about 3/4. And a little bit of brown in there, maybe a 1/4, maggots, sweet corn, and of course the good old pellets. Now what size that is, 2 or 4 mil, don't know. Sweet corn, just regular sweet corn out the supermarket. Keep it cool, keep everything in the shade. Now I've got red and white maggots. I know some guys like bronze maggots, but I do red or white. Now this is very, very clear. This water is absolutely tap water clear, unbelievable. Make a superb trout fishery. Now, tench traditionally for me like red maggots. That's just me saying that. But I'm wondering, will the white maggot catch? Because it stands out in the clear water, they're going to be able to see it? Or would that white actually spook them? I don't know really. Clear water tench fishing, I have done, but I haven't done lots of it. I've also got some casters here. Now these, I'm going to put some water in the bag, because when you've got casters, you absolutely want to stop and keep turning. Now the best cast, I'm going to tell you, that's an early stage caster when the maggots just stop moving and it's tightened up, it's not wriggling. As you can see, it's going into the chrysalis stage. The gold ones here are slightly spongy. They're generally, well, I'd say they're probably the best ones to use for hook bait. These dark ones, they pop, they can pop, and they're very juicy inside, but if they go too dark in the sun, they will actually float, and that's not good unless you want them floating, of course. So the best way to stop them turning, these will turn naturally. They've been in the fridge, but they will keep going darker and darker and darker into floaters unless I keep them cool. So try and keep them in some water. Well, here's a chap down there. There's a robin. He likes some of these as well. So that's my bait there, and of course the good old trusty dendrobena worm. You can't beat those for tench. In fact, if I had to pick a bait for tench, I'd say it's a worm cocktail, one of these with double red maggots. That's what I'd honestly say. Now let's look at the end rig. Okay, rod is just regular Avon quiver tip rod, fixed ball reel, about, I don't know, 5-6 pound line is what I use for everything, to be honest. I keep watching that rod because I've got the other one out. I've got one of these feeders, these sliding feeders. I call them all cage feeders. Anything that looks like a cage, I call it a cage feeder. But it's the ones I've been using quite successfully for bream, squeezing the ground bait around in the ball. Okay, I've already catapulted some balls out there, or thrown some balls out there, about the same size as I make the ball that goes around this. But I like these because basically I can squeeze sweet corn, worms, any sort of mix, any sort of bait, particles in amongst that cage. They don't get jammed inside the central cylinder feeder. So it's sliding up and down the line like this. I think it's what you call inline. All you techno guys, I call it inline feeder. I've got a shot there to stop the swivel jamming up inside there. Then I've got some, I don't know what it's called, struffed I think it is. Very, very thin line. Mal Story told me about this for barbels. Really good hook link, very strong. And then I've got a big hook there because I'm going to be using worm and sweet corn, and this is how I hook it on. Bear in mind, this is barbless, okay? So you can put worms on, or maggots, or indeed any live stuff. It's going to wriggle off. I like to go in, leave in, a little tag end of head showing. On a big hook, this is on a big hook. I roll it around, pop it up over the eye, and leave a tail showing. But to stop him wriggling off, there we go. I just pop a piece of single grain of sweet corn on top of it, so the worm cannot come off. And of course, look, this is one that I've used previously, as they say. It can wriggle at the top and it can wriggle at the bottom. We do this sea fishing all the time. Don't just thread it through the head and up the shank and up the line. It won't move much. If you leave a little tag end here sticking out and a tag end there on a fresh live worm, us beach fishermen use it all the time. You've got movement at the top, movement at the bottom, and the hook in the middle. Okay, I'm just going to show you with the ground bait squeezes around this feeder. I'm calling it a cage feeder. So he said, that's not a cage feeder, mate, that's a diddly dum feeder. God, get them all the time, don't we? It's a feeder. Don't make your ground bait too sloppy. You want it to grip, and you don't want it too hard. You want it to break up. This is now got pellets, it's got everything in it. This is a real smorgasbord, I think they call it in America. We're just going to squeeze this on the ball. Wow, this cold wind could be killing me right off. Anyway, we'll fish. There you can see that feeder. Slides up and down like that. No resistance, and then back here, like that. There's the feeder. Got it, guys? There's a hook bait. Let's get this one out, and I'll show you the other one. Okay, another totally awesome tip, guys, coming. This is going to be a maggot one. Smaller hook, I guess. 14, something like that. Might be 10, probably 10. Actually looks about 10. I'm going to go for 3 maggots, but the same thing with barbless. I'm going to put 2 reds and a white on there. They can and will wriggle off. And instead of using sweet corn, you want to use something that's not moving. So how about topping it off with, watch that rod, Graeme. It's happened before, and it's going to happen again. With a caster. You can use 1 or 2, and then the maggots can't wriggle off because the caster's holding it on. If you wanted that's a gold caster. If you wanted a slow sink over weed, use a couple of black casters, the dark ones, because there's more air in them, and then they'll sink slower and they'll rest on the weed. Just a little tip, same principle. Fill up the feeder. Don't squeeze it too tight. Occasionally you get bits caught where you get, say, a piece of sweet corn in the cage. You can't help that, you know, just the way it is. But generally, this is the way forward for me. I like these little feeders. I don't know what they call them. Same principle, exactly the same rig, sliding. Look, I might change during the day, but this is what I'm starting with. Hook link, Stroft, and there's my bait. Maggots tipped off with 2 unmoving casters, which keep the live maggots onto the baited hook. Out we go. Let's get it out there, guys. I want to see a bite. And do you know what? Although I stopped when I saw some bubbles here, since I put the ground bait in, I haven't seen any bubbles. No, I've killed them off. Well, I then moved right down to the other end of the lake because on the zoom lens of the camera I'd seen Tench bubbling up at this end. I wanted to get away, and lo and behold, on this gravel bar there were Tench. I couldn't believe it. I could see them. Just look in the centre there. If you can see the centre of the picture, you should be able to see a nice Tench with his head down and his tail digging away as he's grazing, picking up the offerings that I'd scattered in there. So well worth moving around. I set my stall up, and was it worth it? Oh boy, that move was worth it. Right guys, I'm on second fish now. First one pulled me off in the weed. I hate it when these fish fight hard. I've moved swims, I've come right round the other side, out of that cold wind, trying to get out the cold wind. Small hooks, hook links, swim feeders. Could be an accident waiting to happen, couldn't it? I'm guessing it's a nice big Horcott Tench. Well, big for me, anything over 3 pounds big, I figure. Why did they fight so hard? Oh my god. Got bad feelings out there, bad vibes all day, guys. You ever get that? You ever get bad vibes when you think nasty things are going to happen? Man, I thought I had this fishing by now. Walking back a bit, keep the pressure on. You keep walking it. It's right on the surface there. And if you guys can see that, there's no way I'm going to screw around with a head cam, anything. I want to get this fish in. Big time scrapper, big time. I'm just staying on backwind all the time, but I just don't want to go in the weed. Oh my god, he's not an average Tench at all. Let's get him on the map. This guy is not an average Tench of 3 pounds. He's not a million miles away. What would you say that is? It's only over 5. He's over 5 pounds. Big fish. Big fish for me anyway. I'm still old school. I still think 5 pounds is a good fish. He might be on the way to 6, this one, I don't know. Don't even know if they get big ones in it, to be honest, really big ones. Look at it across the back there. You see his eye. I'd lost one of those in the weed. I'm all a quiver. I should have rigged up in a second, but I had to move swims, and boy, using the polarising glasses, I saw him out on a gravel bar. Paid off. Let's get him back. Okay, just look at the white maggots and you'll see a black dot on the pointed end. That's called a feeding spot. That shows you that they've still been feeding and they're pretty fresh. Even in slow motion, there you should be able to see the black feeding spot. And you can actually see it on the red maggots as well. So good tip for getting fresh maggots. Then you've got your casters, which need to be kept cool, need to be kept moist, keep them chilled, keep them in a cooler. You can even put them in a bag, put some water on them, or indeed a bait box with some water in them. That stops them turning. Take your sweet corn out from a supermarket bag or tin and put it into a bait tin. A lot of fisheries actually ban tins, and rightly so. Then you have the all-important feed, which in this case are 2 of 4mm coarse fish pellets. They're really good, and that's what the fish love. And of course, not forgetting the humble earthworm. These are called dendrobina worms. You can buy them in small tubs from your tackle shop, or you can dig your own, which is quite hard work. It's been a long time coming, folks. I've got another one hooked up. I'm not going to say landed, netted or whatever, but I haven't got another one. It's been ages coming.
Hey? Is he?
This one's again on 4 maggots.
Oh, well, you got salt on there.
A camera, yeah. Oh, I'm filming, sorry, yeah. So it might not be as big as the other one, but it's going pretty well. And another gentleman's come up, he told me just down there. A guy's had 3 there, quite close succession, so maybe they're starting to feed now.
I was going to say, we've been
coming around here. I'm just filming, sorry, I'm trying to... So there's another angler further down, just down here, he's had some fish as well, about 3 in the last half hour. So maybe they're just coming on now, but I can see them moving across the swim feeder out there. It's bizarre. I'm not getting the rod wrenching bites. I think what it is, this one's back winding me. They seem to be sort of browse feeding, and that's that temperature change I was saying this morning. It's colder, so maybe that's what is making them a little bit tricky. Well, there we go, guys. There's another one from Horcott. Nice looking fish. Get this one out, and maybe this evening might even get the odd 1 or 2 extras. Well, guys, I'm certainly pleased I moved round from that slightly windy section, because I've got 2 swims baited here now. One out the front. I just lost another one after that second fish I had. Blow me down, hooked on the left. It just was black with tench. I couldn't understand why I couldn't get a bite. Just hooked another one, hooks pulled on that. So I'm 4 fish, I've got 2. I've got to hang on now, haven't I? I've got to hang on. All maggots. Here he comes, here he comes, here he comes. See if we get it on camera. Oh, they're not just pulling it round, they're just tweaking the top of the quiver tip very, very slowly, and then just a slow draw on it. I tell you what they're like, almost like bream, almost like a bream bite. Very slow, very finicky. I guess when he gets lower light levels, they will come on a bit stronger, fingers crossed. Just like to get one more. Well, we always do, don't we? Well, guys, I've been thinking, A, it's time to pack up, and B, there's something wrong somewhere. The fish aren't feeding. A couple of guys down there, they said they've been bumping fish off as well. I've bumped off, wait for this, haven't broken them off, bumped them off. 7 tench, one was a big one, dragged me off in the middle of the lake. I'm going to pack up now, it's just getting dusk. Going to hang on for the proverbial 5 minutes. I'm going to go home, I'm going to draw a little sketch of what I think might be a better way of hooking maggots, and they don't mask the hook point. It could be something, that could be why The fish are feeding funny and why I'm bumping them off. Because to bump 7 tench off is not good. I'd had a blinding day if it wasn't for that. I just hope I don't bump another one off. I'm going to give it 5 minutes. Check it out when we get home. Might be a tip for you. Might save you losing some fish. And that got me thinking losing those fish, because nobody likes losing fish, do they? No angler wants to lose fish. But bumping so many off, I know it's the way they were feeding because the other guys are losing them as well. But I want to alleviate that. And this is my idea. Take a look at it and please, don't laugh at the drawings. It's the best I can do. So here's the maggots, guys, and you can see, if I can shake him down the middle, it's got a fat end and it's got a thin end. So if you hook them by the fat end, just look at this diagram. So if you look at this nice school diagram I've drawn of 4 maggots on a hook, I've hooked them on the fat end. Fine, but that bulk of that body is around here. And I feel on a small hook, that might just be masking the hook point a bit. It might be, well, I guess it might be too bulky. So what about if you do this? There we go. You hook them with the small end. That leaves here, look, a big wide area to go into the fish's mouth, and hopefully he gets hooked. It's just something Matchmore will probably tell you. They have their favourite ways of doing it, but I sit there thinking, and I've got too much time to think, is it going to be this one, the fat maggots, masking the hook point on a small hook, and this might solve it. And let's take a look at some on a hook. Now there you can see, it looks a little bit bulky, doesn't it, around the bend of the hook. And I wonder, is that the reason on small hooks that you might bump off? I've used a bigger hook here just to show you the principle of it. Let's put them the other way around and see what it looks like. Now to me that looks better, guys. I don't know what you think, but there seems hooking it by the pointed end of the maggot leaves a lot more of the hook and bend, you know, available for the fish to hook up. And you know what, I'm not even sure they don't wriggle better either. So there's a tip for you. Think about it. Give it a try if you want. I'm not saying do it, but the thinking angler generally catches more fish. Oh, just as a sandwich. And the rod nearly came out the rest. Please, please don't fall off. I'm just about to go home. It is literally the last cast. Surely not going to lose 8 in a row. God, it's a bit thinking about. It's amazing how quickly you can eat a half a sandwich when you've got a fish on the hook. Well, thank goodness for that, people. I got rid of that small hook, went to a bigger hook, and there we go. Beautiful tench to finish off with. Good little session. I've lost 7 tench, landed 3. That would have been 10 tench. Some session, I don't know what that big one was, somewhere between 5.5 and 6, I guess. This one's nice, nice tencher. Good bit of fishing here at Horcott. Wow. I have really got to go home. I've got like hour and 3/4 to drive yet. Let's get this guy back. I'll probably throw one more feeder out while I'm packing up.